Okay, so just a quick introduction to the marketing team. We have our marketing and sales director, Sheetal. She's based in the Netherlands. We've got our amazing graphic designer, Yvonne, who does all of our materials. She's based in Singapore. Rebecca Ma does the operations in China, and then there is myself. That's who makes up the department. So we're a nice small department. But it's all very good. Welcome to the call. If you don't mind just muting yourself, please, whilst we're busy in the workshop. But if you have any questions, please feel free to put up your hand. Comment to the section. Okay, so as a new center, you will receive your welcome letter. It will look like this. It just gives you a rundown as to what marketing support we give you as a new center. So number one being is a welcome pack. So in that welcome pack, we'll hold all the materials to get you started and to get the partnership set up on your side as well as ours. So we'll give you things like our NCC logos, our images, some guidelines that we would like you to follow. You'd also be given a dedicated web page, which I'll show you in a minute. We like to do a press release. So you would have received a link to do a form. And if you are an older center, you would have done that already. So what we then do is we announce the partnership with your center on our website and then also on our social media platforms. Then you obviously get invited to the marketing workshops, like I mentioned, which happen every month. So just to kind of go through quickly what's inside the welcome pack, you'll get your logos, the logos that I mentioned. So the different versions of the NCC logo will also give you guidelines in terms of how to use the logo, some previous newsletters, our corporate brochure that gives you more detail in terms of all about us and as well as all the programs, and then the university progression booklets. We give this all to you in a pack, and if you haven't received it yet, please just leave a comment and we can get that sent to you, or after the call, you're welcome to send us an email and we can get that to you as soon as possible. So just to go through the use of our logo, so that we have two versions. We've got the white one, which is generally for dark and colored backgrounds. So you'll see that sitting there on the left-hand side on the navy blue. And then we have our navy version, which is better for white backgrounds. So we prefer if you use it straight as the picture depicts, never at an angle, and also always use the right one that's got the little curves around it. Try not to stretch it or manipulate it in any way. We wouldn't do that with your logo. So we just always ask that you keep our logo standards as it's sent to you. You add it in. If you need different versions or the working file versions, we can send that to you, no problem, if your designer needs to use it in their own programs. Please always just ask us. We're happy to help you in any way. Also, don't try and translate it into your own language because, again, it's not according to our guidelines. So if you don't mind sticking to what we've sent you, we would really appreciate it. There's an example of the guidelines. So in the guidelines, it tells you about how to use our logo. Also tells you about using the university logos, and we're busy with a new handout to basically send to you if you do the UClimb programs, how you can use the logo, what's appropriate, things like that. So if you're ever not sure, please always just reach out to us. We also talk about our colors and types of fonts that we use with our marketing. So we're busy updating this. So the new one will get sent out. And if you haven't got it already, just to let us know. So I'm going through this very quickly, just as if you're a potential new center on the call. We've got our great corporate brochure that goes obviously through the milestones of NCC and how we came about, what we can offer you as centers, what we can offer to students. And then it goes through the student journey and talks about all the different programs that we have on offer, and then where the students have progressed to. We also have another great brochure, which is the What's Next brochure, what's the university progression, and that we get a lot of information from past students as to where they are now, what institutes they're gone to, so what universities. It helps with progression for you when you're talking to students and deciding on where they want to go. Okay, so the next main thing that you get is, like we said, each new center gets their own dedicated web page on our website. And the reason for it is obviously we want people to know about the partnership between us. And then also it's great for you if somebody in your country searches this web page will pop up. So in terms of SEO, it's really great. What we need to do that is your logo, your contact information, and then your links to your social media platforms, as well as some background history about you, some images. The more information you give to us for this page, the more we can populate it. And if anything changes, so for example, you go through a rebrand, your logo changes, your website link changes, please send us an email and we'll update it as soon as we can. So if you're a new center from this month, by the end of this month, you'll have your own page. You would have had a press release and everything would have been set up for you. So to find it, you go to study centers and it will give you the list of study centers. Or if you're a student, for example, who's now looking for your center, they can say which country or what program they want to send to study. All the programs that you offer are also linked onto your specific web page. So if you add on more programs at a later date, those are there as well. So please have a look at your, if you have got your page on our websites and if it's all up to date, and if it's not, please send us a mail to update that as soon as possible. As well as becoming a new center or existing center, if you add in on more programs, you also get co-branded program sheets. We're busy updating these quite regularly. We kind of update a look and feel. So these are more for your students. So you can have them printed out and give it to students, gives them an overview of the program, the entry requirements, and for example, if it's IFD, it tells them the progression routes that they can take. Again, if you want something like this, we can co-brand for you. So when we co-brand, we can alter the images to fit your region. And then we can add the logo and the contact information. We also can do co-branded social media posts. So you can see a couple of examples there. So for every program, we will do a couple of co-branded social media posts that you're welcome to use on your platform. This is just to help you get started until you start doing your own marketing. We try to use words that are relevant in your region or relevant to what the students might understand. So we use a lot of equivalents, like the first year of a British degree. It's a British qualification, and that's what the students want to know. So we make sure that kind of information is on the post as well. A lot of people ask about how to create content. They don't have their own marketing department, or they don't have a specific graphic designer. You can create content on Canva. It's a really great free tool that you can create content, anything you want to post onto the social media, you can add it all there. And then if you want to use a software to schedule, you can use one of these. We like to use Buffer. It's a really great tool. So if you've got multiple platforms, then you can use that. So that's just a little bit of a update in terms of what you get as a new center, and just to help give you some guidance in terms of what you can do. The big thing that we want to talk about is the types of online advertising you can do. We know that social media today is one of the biggest ones. So we have a couple of ideas in terms of some strategies you can use on social media. As a center looking for students, you know where your audience sits. So we know that doing a live is really good. Having open days, having webinars, things like that are really great to get your students to know about you and get them interested to learn more. Advertising on social media platforms, create a poster. You can share about the partnership you now have with NCC, what programs you're offering, and why they should study that program. So we're always helping centers. So if you're not sure about anything, you can ask your BDM and they'll give you some examples of previous ones we've done, and we can amend it to your center. Or if it's something specific you want to do, you can just have a chat with them and we can work on it together. Another great thing is showcasing success. So if you've got a student, a really great student story, or they've progressed somewhere, or they've finished studying with you and now they've got a really great career, you want to talk about that because that's the biggest influence for future students. People like to hear from people. They like recommendations. Word of mouth is really great ways of advertising. So if you're sharing on your social media platforms about testimonials of previous students, where they're at now, you can also show that your campus, say if you're adding in a new computer room, if you're adding in a canteen, things like that. People want to see that. As a student, they want to imagine what their life could be at your campus. So having that information on your social media platforms is really good because that's where they go now to find out anything about you, as well as Google, but their social media is where they go and look as well. So having as much information on those platforms is really great. Some creative and interesting content. So you can host contests. So for example, if you want to do something that's more aligned with like computing, you can have like a computing quiz, and you can do a poll. You can do all sorts of things like that just to help and build engagement and get people to know about you. So yeah, so this is just some kind of strategies that so you can post questions. You want to get interaction with them, so asking them what do they do to help them study, or things like what do they do when they're looking to study a course. So how do they find out that information? Because what that does is that gives you information on how you can market to them. So there's a lot of interesting things, and we hope to share some of them in our marketing workshops. Like today, we're going to talk about advertising and some other things you can do online, and how you can actually position the programs and what you can do. So hopefully you can get something out of today with that. So obviously you've taken on the NCC program and now you want to do student recruitment. We've got there how to boost student recruitment. So if you're an existing center and you're looking for ideas. So obviously there's different ways you can do it. So obviously we know in the website, you're going to have, if you don't have already, have a page for your programs. So as a student, they can go onto your website, they can see the different programs you offer. To draw attention to, say, a particular program that the intake's soon happening, you can add a banner on the top of your websites. You want it to be able to click through to that program page. You can also have on that program page that they can click through to our website. So it gives the authority that the program is validated by NCC. It's from us, also helps. You can do press releases on your website or blog posts about the programs or about why studying the program is really good for them. And then you can share things like your center highlights, what's been happening, if you've had any like theme days, or if you're doing any charity work or anything like that. So it's really good to have that information on your website. So if you don't have a website currently, make sure that's one of your first stops in online advertising, that you want to now have a website, and make sure it's functional, that somebody can go on there and find the information they're looking for. Another thing you can do, I mentioned about getting students involved, hearing all about them. You can do things like student testimonials, celebrate those high achieving students. So the ones that go the extra mile and really make an effort. You can leverage their stories for promotional purposes. So you can, lots of videos, take videos of students, because then what it is people can see, okay, well, that student's doing really well at that institute, and they want it for themselves. So taking lots of information about your students, where they're at, or if somebody's made a big improvement to something, or they're just really enjoying the program, that definitely can help boost your student recruitment, because the other potential students will see it. And it's like thinking about it, you're telling a friend about it, so they're going to tell their friends about it, and that's how you're going to get more students through your door. If you wanted to go the rewards and discounts way, you could. So if students register early, you can give them an early bird discount, offer bursaries, scholarships, offer free laptops. You can incentivize the student registration. You just need to find out the right way for you. Might not be the same for everybody. You could also do things like asking students or asking potential students to follow you on your platforms, do like a random draw. Facebook doesn't really like you to do competitions anymore because they found that there was a lot of scam with it. So just be very careful. If you're going to advertise that you're doing a competition or things like that, make sure you're doing the drawing of it outside of social media. And those kinds of things, you're having it in person rather than doing it all online. So that definitely does help. Another way to boost student recruitment is probably one of the obvious things is to open days. You want to get people to your institute. You want them to get to see what life at your campus would be like. From there, you could do hand out flyers about the programs you're offering. If you go do exhibitions and educational fairs, that's really great because you're getting a bigger awareness about your institutes and what you can offer students, as well as all the programs that you might offer. A lot of times with fairs, students will go there with their parents, so you're gonna make a good impression of the parents by giving them as much information about it. What can the program offer their child? What is it going to then be able to make them their career into, kind of thing. So having information like that's really great. As well as any British councils or DIT events that might be happening in your country. You can also visit potential schools. So if you're going to do like an IFD level 3 programs, you can go straight to schools and say, okay, after you've matriculated school now, these are the programs that you guys can take, for example. So doing things like that really helps. And as well as doing masterclasses with us. So we're always welcome to do events with you guys, co-branded events, where we can have one of our BDMs or one of our academic individuals talk to help give some more information to the students to help you convert them and get them to register with you. And last but not least, social media. So we talk a lot about social media because we know that the world is in a digital stage. Also post-COVID, everything was digital and everything still is. And posting on social is going to help get your people into your events. So you're going to post first on social media that you're having an event, and then they're going to come to your campus for the open days or the exhibitions, things like that. So and then everything you do on social media is going to go back to your website. So they're all very interlinked. So I wanted to talk about social media and how you can market the programs. I've used the level 3 diploma in computing, for example, and this image that's here on the screen is a co-branded image that we did for our center. So just to give you an example of how you could word it, what you could say take your computing skills to the next level with NCC Education Level 3 Diploma in Computing. So you can do it, you can word it how you would like to based on how your students would want to understand it. Make it easy for them to understand what it is that you're offering to them. Make sure you always have a call to action. So the call to action we've got here is enroll now and unleash your potential. So having a call to action makes somebody want to do something. So you want to make sure you have that. And then finding relevant hashtags as well. So that's an example of a post you could do if you were doing level 3 diploma in computing. There's some other examples of co-brands that we've done with different centres using words like second year of a British degree for L5DC. For UCLan, a degree awarded by a British university. So this is also some ideas and types of imagery you can use Obviously, going back, you can kind of word it yourself how you want the text to be relevant to your students and something that they will understand. And the most important thing is understanding what appeals to your students and the wording. So if it's in your own language, you can do your marketing in your own language. We supply everything in English. Obviously, we're an English-speaking company and country, and the programs are in English, so it's easier for us to be in English. We can do some co-brands in your own language, but we make sure that translation is supplied. So here's just some more examples. I'm just going to go. So one of the questions that gets asked a lot is, which platform should I use? What is the right platform to use? Those kinds of questions. So the number one thing you're always going to think about is right now, who is your audience? So we know that you're trying to get students for your institutes. So their ages are going to be 18, and they could be adult learners, so up to 34. So you've got quite a big gap of age there that you can do. So you're looking, where do they go? Which platforms do they use? And you can see their number one on this is Facebook. It's one of the oldest platforms. It's the one that's got a lot of people on it. So without anything else you do, you're always going to have a Facebook page. And Facebook and Instagram are linked now with Meta. So Facebook and Instagram, you're going to have those two pages. They both have different benefits. So Facebook, you can do your regular posts in terms of photos, and you can do text, you can do your flyers, you can do events, you can have groups. So if you have an alumni group, or if you have potential students, you can create community groups like that. So Facebook has a lot of options in terms of that. It helps you build relationships with your potential students or your past students. And if you post there quite often and people get to know you, they're loyal to you, those kinds of things. Where Twitter has fewer users, and they have found that it's on very older markets. So you might not necessarily find, unless it's specific in your country, that a lot of people use Twitter. It's a lot more known for corporate individuals, and it says they're between the ages of 30 to 49. That's still quite accurate. It is a lot older. And if you ever consider doing paid advertising, there's a very narrow window for people with advertising on Twitter. So again, it depends on your country and what works there. Pinterest is also a really great tool, because what Pinterest actually helps do is it works because you're doing an image and then you've got to do text, and it does a lot of background text. It works really well with SEO. So if you want to now take on more platforms, Pinterest is a great option. And it goes without saying, video. Video is the biggest thing right now. So if you want to, you should be on YouTube, have a channel. Any video that you post on any other social, or you have, store it in YouTube, have a library, build it up like that. You can do paid advertising on YouTube if you want, if you feel that's where you're going to find your students. So if your students watch a lot of YouTube videos, you could do paid advertising that way. And then also, if you're looking for specific influencers. So influencer marketing is a very different thing, but if you know your students all watch a specific influencer, and that influencer could help you generate more students, you could have a potential partnership with that influencer if they align with your values and what you're going to offer to students. Then it's definitely something you could look at and have an influencer involved and get a partnership. But for example, if that influencer, their biggest thing is makeup or not very educational topics, that's not really going to benefit you unless they're the right age that you could offer them the partnership. So yeah, that's just some things to think about. Influencer marketing can work. It does take a lot of effort on both parties to get any conversion there, but it can definitely work. LinkedIn is a really great tool to market your institute. but it's not for you to find students. And the reason being is a lot of the audience on LinkedIn is a lot older. So unless you're doing postgraduates, a lot of higher education, adult higher education, you're not going to get a lot of students from LinkedIn. It's more going to be about you as a brand trying to build awareness and making those relationships with potential partners. So I wouldn't recommend LinkedIn for students recruitment. You can obviously do it to help with awareness if students go on there. So for example, specific industries. So let's say they're in the cybersecurity industry. And if you have LinkedIn and you post a lot of articles about cybersecurity, or you share a lot of content about cybersecurity, they can find you that way, but as awareness. But for you to get a student to register on LinkedIn might be a very different story compared to what it would be on Facebook. So that's just something to take into account. Instagram, obviously we know it's linked to Facebook, so you can have it dual advertising there. Instagram is great for videos and photos. So sharing photos about your campus, sharing video testimonials of your students, that's the kind of content you want to share on Instagram. You can share about events or programs and things like that, but you got to make sure that you have all your links set up properly on Instagram. So on your bio, you have all that information. And they can go through there. So it's great for building relationships, getting awareness out, and then people generally go back to Facebook or they'll go to your website from there. And last but not least, probably the most popular one of the moments is TikTok. TikTok can take a while to help you convert and build up your profile, but once you can get it, it can bring amazing results. If you do a lot of videos with your students, or what you could even do is get a lot of ambassadors from your campus. So say you've got 5 students who do different programs and they all do videos for you. You obviously can incentivize those students for doing it as ambassadors, but then you've got a lot of content that you can do and you're posting on the platforms. So it's a really great tool, and you definitely should be on it now. Don't look at doing static images or text, a lot of text on TikTok. That doesn't work. You got to do video there. So even if it's a video of, for example, the chairman of the institutes welcome potential students, and then they do a walk through the campus. That's a really great idea. They want to see where they're going to go, or in a day in the life of a student when they wake up. They go to their first class, they have a break, they go lunch. If they're studying, what do they do while they're studying? Things like that. That's really great content for TikTok. So that's things that you should look at. So I think first we're going to just talk about Facebook, because it is one of the biggest one, and it's going to be the most obvious answer to where you can get students from. You can see some stats there. There's 2.2 billion. I think it's even more now. Everyone uses Facebook. So a lot of people use Facebook more now than they go to Google. So if you're looking for something that's, say you're looking to buy a couch, you'll go to Facebook first, search it there, see what people are recommending where they bought a couch, then they'll go to Google, kind of thing. So that's why Facebook's so popular these days, and you have to make sure you're on it. There's about 500,000 new people every day. They use it on their mobile devices, so it's very quick and easy for them to use it. And then there are obviously people who then use it on a desktop, but it's generally more so people on their cell phones these days. I'm going to then talk about advertising on Facebook, the different options that you can do. So if you creating now an ad on Facebook, you're going to have some different options in terms of what your objective is going to be. So today we're specifically talking about how to boost student recruitment. So there's a couple of options you can do here, but you can do awareness. So you want to build awareness, you want to reach more potential students. Then you've got a consideration. So the consideration is when you want them to take an action. So you want to get their information, you want them to send a message, you want them to engage, or you want to drive traffic to your website. So that's what the consideration aspect is. Conversion is more if you have online products, if you have a catalog. So if you're the type of center who likes to advertise your your products being your programs on your Facebook page where they have a price and people can click it from there. Or you have an online store for your program. So if you do online courses, etc. But I always find that doing consideration awareness works a lot better in terms of our industry with education. So I'm going to show you an example of someone different ones. So this one here is brand awareness. So the reason why there's a video in the first one, be a visionary in your market. So it's a video. And then the call to action is, do you want to be the best? Then work with the best. So this is brand awareness. So what that does is you're not going to have a link, a button that says click here to apply. You're going to have a button that says learn more, and that's going to direct you to their website where you get to learn more about them. It's probably going to go to their about page, things like that. And what it does is just gives more information about yourself. So for example, your business has been available for the last 10 years. You've been in business for 10 years. What's your success rate for your students, your graduations, things like that. That's a type of brand awareness things that you could do. The next one from Slack is on Instagram, and it's very short, to the point, organize your communication. So things that's very straight and to the point, and then they're going to take you to the website to learn more. So awareness is, as a center, you could say, did you know that we offer NCC education programs, with a button saying click to learn more? And then it goes through to your website that has all the NCC programs. So that's all you're doing is building awareness. You're making people know about the partnership you have with NCC, and you're driving the traffic to your website. Another example is for conversion. So now we want somebody to take an action. So this one on the right says, have a couple painting projects around the house, click to learn more to schedule your painter for the day. So now you're going to hire a painter, and it's got the image, it's got a very bold title there. You want to hire a painter. So it wants you to take an action. And then that click learn more button is going to bring a form where it's going to ask you to fill in your information. The same thing goes for the one on the left for Jasper's Markets. You want to schedule a test drive. So it's making you take an action. You're going to click sign up, and again, it's going to ask you for your information. So as soon as you want to get some information from your potential students, it's conversion. You're wanting to convert that information. You're not just going to take that information and not do anything with it. You're going to take it and now reach out to them and try and get them to become a student. So that's why it's conversion. Another example is lead generation, which is very similar to do an action, get them to fill out a form, or for example, if you want them to download something. So this one, they've got a guide to lead generation with Facebook ads, and it's a free ebook. They're going to now download that. A way that you could do in the educational space is you could have your prospectus. So you could say, download our free prospectus today, and you could have download button, and they would have to fill in a form first to give their information. And then after they've completed the form, they will then be sent the download. What that does is it basically becomes a pre-qualified student for you, because now they've downloaded your prospectus. They're interested in your courses without getting much information other than what you've put in the ad. They're interested, and now they want to download the prospectus. They want to go through it. So they're pre-qualified on your side. So now you got to make sure that your points of contact thereafter are aligned to make sure that you can convert that person. And if you don't convert it, find out why they didn't convert. That's information that you want to have. Is it the program was too expensive? Was it that they couldn't start at that time? Things like that. Or were they just, very rarely when someone wants to download something, they're not interested. They are really interested. So that's also another way you can do it. Another way is to get people to subscribe to you, obviously on your YouTube, on your websites. You can have that pop up that says stay up to date with our news. You can do the same thing as an ad campaign on social media, Facebook, for example, here, where they can subscribe. They go into your database. They sign up for your newsletters. These are types of lead generation that you can do. So if you want to decide now, okay, I know what I want to do. I want to do a lead generation campaign. Let me start. How do I do it? So you've got different options that you can do. A carousel, you would have seen it. It's usually a couple of images that you can click the button and it scrolls, or you can do a single image, single video, a slideshow, or a collection. Collections more so if you've got products. So carousel, that's one of our favorites. We always do it because we're able to give a lot more information than just a single image. And video is also really great. You can do video, not that we don't do video, but we found the carousel, we like it. Allows people to click it to get more information. So here's some examples. So the first one here from Target, this is a carousel. So they have it nicely linked that you can go and click to the next image. Well, and here's a piece of clothing. You can click and see it. This, for example, is the catalog version. So if you have a product, you can have those versions. Like I said, we use a lot of the carousel as it's quite informative. So just to give you some background, if you want to go and create an ad, this is how you can do it. If you don't already have your business studio set up, the professional studio or the meta studio set up, definitely set that up because it just helps with your analytics. But you can go then and create a new ad. Where it says create an automated ad, that will take information that's currently on your page or your top performing post, and it will create an ad based on that with the information that you have in your bio. So it's more of a brand awareness campaign than maybe if you want to do a lead generation. So that's just something to note. We're going to create a new ad. And we're going to start building our ad here. So we've set our goal. We know that we want to get more leads. We want to do lead generation. So we want people to fill in the form and give us their information. So then we can talk to them at a later stage through our different formats. So there's an example. So we've done the description. So you want to have the caption. I showed you the example before where I talked about the level 3. You can have it whatever you want it to that's going to make somebody actually want to click the button. So ours is very standard here. We're just talking about NCC, who we are, what we do. For you, for example, if it's about a specific program, you could say, do you want to study or do you want to become this or do you want to go this career route, things like that. Think about the wording that your students would understand, what would make them click. And if you're not sure about this information, focus groups with your current students can help you a lot. I always say that do focus groups, understand what your students like, what they will react to. And then you can find out exactly the right wording to use to help get you more students. So yes, we're going to collect a form now to get their information. Now we've got to set up we're going to set up the audience. So this is a step you should already know. You should already know where your audience is. So let's use, for example, the UK. I know that my potential students are going to be in Manchester, and they're not going to be more than 10 miles out of Manchester. I've got here that the age is between 18 and 65. That's quite a large age. We spoke in the beginning about your students' age. Think about it. Look at your past students. Look at the ages that they were when they signed up. So from 18 to 25, or they're a little bit older. Things like that. That's what you must have. And ideally, you should have your audience set up. We should know exactly who your ideal target market is before you even go to this step. So how old are they? Obviously, you would like to have male and female, but what location are they in? So if you're in quite a big city, is there little cities around you or little towns? Think of that. What are they interested in? You can drill into things like, I use makeup as an example. They're into makeup. It's a cybersecurity program, they're really into cybersecurity, computing, networking. You can actually drill down into a lot of specifics on Facebook ads. So get that information beforehand. So when you go and do this, or if your marketing person does this, it's very easy for them to then set it up. And then what you can do is you can create that then a custom audience based on your ideal target markets. And if you're not 100% sure and you want to just branch out a little bit, you can do people in your local area. So do a certain radius around you, and then you can pick up those local people. When you're scheduling, don't schedule for less than 5 days. It's not going to be very successful. Rather schedule it for long as possible. So if you're doing a brand awareness, run it for a month or 2 or 3 months. You can pause and change imagery and wording in the campaign whilst it's running. Well, it will pause and then you can change it. So rather do it for a long time. The budgets is going to be 100% up to you and what you want to do. Facebook does give you an average of what people spend daily, and it will tell you, it will prompt you and say, no, this budget's too low. So just take into account of that. You can do a daily budget, you can do a lifetime budget. Sometimes if you find that you're doing a brand awareness campaign for 3 months, sometimes it's better to do a lifetime, because then what happens is Facebook will say, okay, well, I'm going to use pounds, for example. Today, I'm going to give it £5 because I know it's going to be a really busy day. But maybe on a Sunday, for example, it might be a little bit quiet. So I'm only £3. So it basically does like an auction for the days, and it can manipulate your spend. So if you do a lifetime budget, that's what it will do. Sometimes if I'm specifically wanting very high results for each day, and I kind of want it to be consistent, I will specify daily budgets. I'll take my full budget and divide it by the amount of days and do a total for each day. That's something you can also do to control. But make sure you always control it, because if you don't add in the limitations, like a daily budget or a lifetime budget, it's just going to go and spend as much as possible, and that you don't really want that. Yes, it can be very fruitful, but if you haven't budgeted for it and it's not in your marketing budgets, you might go, hold up, why is the marketing department spending so much money? So make sure they have this set up. Okay, so then here's a back end of the ad center, how you can create the ad as well. You'll see there's a little button that just says create there. You can go in and do a similar thing that we've just gone through. You're choosing the different types of objectives. Then you obviously name it. You can do an A/B test. So an A/B test is when you run the same campaign, but 2 different ways. You can use different images, different audiences, but say, for example, you want to do IFD programming, you want to run it 2 different ways in 2 different cities, for example. Say you've got two campuses in 2 different cities. So one image you could use of lots of people, and the other one you can just do as like so like like static image of an object. So let's think about computing. So a computer. You can do 2 different images. You're going to 2 different audiences. One might be for the younger group. One might be for a little bit older who need that bridging program. So that's how you can do A/B tests. You can, once you get into your advertising, you can do that to see which kind of campaigns can give you better results. It's always good to try do at least once a year an A/B test so you can check your audience. We spoke about the budgets, scheduling, making sure it's all kept. You make sure that when you're doing a campaign, it has the destination you want it to. So you always want it to go after somebody's filled out a form, they go to your website. You don't want them to fill in a form and then just stay on Facebook, because you want to give them more information about you, get them more engaged with your brand. So send them to your website. Even if it's just your About Us page or your blog page or whatever, something you want them to keep reading more about you, direct them to that page. So here's just some examples of the forms that you can use. The contact information is going to take on Facebook and Instagram. It does pre-fill the information based on the person's profile. And then also if you're doing the higher education, well, adult education, you want the job title where they're currently at, you can ask questions like that as well. Or for a school leaver, you can ask them what school they're at, or things like that as well. You can ask all types of custom questions as well. We went through this, different audiences, different kind of interests, the demographics. You can change all of that, what they're interested in, if they're interested in specific. You can even go as far as if they're they have interest in your competitor, you can add that into your targeting. So there's just some examples. Then you can have different placements. So you can have your text, your main text at the top, your image, the click-through button. You can then have it alter for different places that it can be seen. So we know with Facebook, you've got your normal feed. You've also got where you do reels. You've got on the side, if you're looking on the desktop, you can see there's little ads on the side. So you can change how it looks on every placement. And it gives you the option to change that. Also, if it's with reels and videos, you can also update it and make your carousel into a video for those specific placements. Facebook's very easy to use. It does kind of prompt you for things as well. So just read everything thoroughly, and then you'll figure out how to change it. And if you're ever unsure, you can always ask us. But if you would have a marketing person who would help you do this. And then I mentioned tracking. So if you use any kind of tracking system, analytics, Google Analytics, it's great because then you can add that into it, and then you would have them go to your website, like I said before. So you want to be able to track how many people on your website came from Facebook, that paid campaign, versus how much was organic traffic coming through from Google. And I'm going to quickly talk through Google. As you're an institute, you should have a Google My Business page, because you're in country, you have a location, people can visit your location, so you'll have an address. So if you haven't already set up your Google My Business profile, please set that up as soon as possible, because you won't believe how much traffic that can generate to your websites and how much organic conversion you can get from that page. So Google My Business would look like something like this. So what would happen as a student, I would go and type in their education or institute near me, and it would come up with all the options that are in a certain radius around me. Now, if you are, for example, this Green Mountain Carpentry, I'm going to see your Google reviews that you can also send out to people, your students, to give you a review. You can also post updates. About your institute. Everything that you would post onto social media, you can post onto here, except from videos. And that just gives some more information about you and helps people want to come and visit you. So make sure you're utilizing it. Definitely helps, as well as Google Ads. So you've got different types of Google Ads. You've got search ads, display ads, shopping ads, YouTube ads. Definitely would suggest you look into search ads. So anything that a student might type in relating to studying a program and you want them to end up on your page, do the search ads, put some money behind it. Also with your Google My Business, you can put money behind it so your profiles get shown a lot. So you can do that as well. So there's just some examples. YouTube. So anything you do on Google can be shown on different affiliated pages. So if you think about it, when you do go on and do online shopping, you see all these ads on the side. Sometimes it can be like Amazon or whatever on the side. And that's what shopping ads are. And that's why they're there. Basically, someone's paid for them to be there. So if, for example, somebody is searching something to do with education in your country, and then they go onto a local online store, because now they've searched it and you've got shopping ads selected and you're paying for shopping ads, they will then pop up. So everywhere they now go after searching something to do with education or anything relating to the keywords that you've used, any site they go on there after, there will be your ad. Because what Google does is it follows the shopper. And that's why, I mean, some people can get irritated because they're on our page and they keep seeing this same ad, but you know, you search something to do with it. So now Google is going to try and show you as much as possible till you click that ad and do something with it. So just an example of how Google ad can look. Here's one for a fitness coach, but you'll have at the top of a search, you'll have your sponsored ad that will pop up. Obviously, when your keywords are specific to what you want a student to type in. So let's just say, for example, you're in Ghana. Educational institutes in Ghana, or higher education in Ghana. If you use those types of keywords when the potential student types it up, or let's just go even more specific and go computing course in Ghana. And if you've used that keyword in a Google ad, you're going to pop up as the first page that they see. So they're going to then click that ad. So that's what you want. That's what you want your students to do, and that's what the purpose of Google Ads is. I'm just going to put a disclaimer here. For every time that a person clicks on that ad, you pay for it as a paid per click. So if you, as the person who's now done the ad, go and click that ad, you're paying for your own click. So just bear that in mind. I've had a lot of people who keep clicking their own ads and saying, oh, well, I've had 10 people click on it, but I haven't had anything come through the website. Well, that's because you've been clicking your own ad, paying for it, and you haven't done anything on your own website because now it's your own product. So that's something to just to keep in mind. We love it when students click on it and then they go to the website and then they then go to programs, etc. So also you want to make sure that when they click this, your homepage on your website has enough call to action that you don't lose that student on the first page. Just some more keywords in terms of the keywords. You can be very specific. So like an MBA school in Europe, they do allow for misspelling. So if somebody spelled it wrong, you could just type in words like education in Ghana, for example, and it will pick up other ones. So yeah, these are types of keywords. All of this goes back to analytics. If we don't
I'm sorry, but your microphone is off. I can't hear anything.
I can't hear your voice.
Hi, Stacy. Your mic is off. You need to channel your mic. Yes. Thanks.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you right now.
Can hear you now.
Okay,
yes, we
perfect.
can. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So yes, so yeah, you want to have you want to see where all your traffic's coming from on your Google Analytics. So have that set up. You can then see how much is organic search, how much is direct, how much is paid. So it helps you monitor all the information. In Google Ads, you can go into it so you can get more information about your audience and how many people are clicking and you're converting, things like that. So that's information you want to have. So I know there's been a lot of information that I've given today, and I know a lot of people are just joining now. Please understand that with the change in time in the UK, there's a little bit of confusion with the timing. So I will be going through it again for anyone who's just come on again. But if anyone has any questions in the meantime, I would love to hear them. Anyone with any questions?
Yeah, can we get the meeting recording?
Yes. After this meeting, the recording will be sent. So you will get a copy of this as well as a presentation. I will send the PDF version of that.
All right, thanks.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you. I know there's a lot of people who have just joined now because of the time difference, the confusion with the time difference. So that's perfect. I'm going to go through the presentation again in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to take a little bio break. So if there's anyone who has been on for the call so far, have any questions, please add it into the comment box. I will send the recording and the presentation. And in the meantime, I'm just going to go back to the first page and then I'm just going to give it a minute, 1 more minute, and then I'll go through the presentation again.
Thanks, Stacy. Yes, due to confusion that we got our email this morning, different timing. So many of us actually got, missed our first half an hour or so. So definitely those people will be joining you back, but the one who have already attended. So will you be sending this PDF transcript and the video to all of them, or just who attended today?
Hi, Asif. No, this will actually be sent out as a link with the video, and the transcript will go with it. And then if you have any further questions, you can also just email marketing and they'll be able to come and help you out with any specific questions that you have. So everything will be sent out.
Great. Thanks. And who am I speaking to? Sorry, I didn't.
This is Ziad here.
Ziad, all right, Ziad, brother. Okay, no problem, Ziad. Thank you very much. Thank you. We look
I
forward
thought
to
you'd
seeing.
recognize me after that.
Yeah, will do. All right then. Cheers. Thanks.
No
Bye.
worries, bro. See you
Bye.
later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're on mute, Stacey.
Thanks, Ziad.
So that was I don't know if you heard that question from Asif.
Yes, I
So
did.
okay, so he's basically after the video and transcript with whatever anything else you can supply. So I said you could do that. So
That's no problem at all. We'll do that. Welcome everyone who is on the call. So we're doing a back-to-back session today because of some confusion with the time, because obviously now the UK has had the clocks go back or come forward 1 hour. So if you haven't been on the call, welcome. My name is Stacey. I'm the social media manager. And today we're going to go through some ideas and some guides when it comes to online advertising, as well as give some information if you're a potential new center. So if you just give me 1 second, and I will share my spreadsheet and my presentation again. Just as housekeeping, if you are joining the call, if you don't mind putting yourself on mute, I'm just put yourself on mute, be really great. If you do have a question, please feel free to add it in the chat or put up your hand. One of my trusty sidekicks on the call, either Ziad or Tamsin, whoever's on the call and is able to help, will let me know if there's a question, or they'll answer the question, or they'll just notify me that there's something that I need to kind of take notes of. So welcome today. Today we're going to be talking about online advertising and social media. I do deal a lot with social media, so I kind of know a lot of the ins and the outs and how to help boost student recruitment for you guys, and dealing with global, kind of see the trends that come through. So today I'm helping to give you some advice in terms of actually doing paid advertising and different ways that you can use advertise the programs. So if you're a new center, welcome to the network. We're happy to have you on board with us.
Stacey, can I just jump in?
Run down on the market.
Stacey, can I just jump in there quick?
Yes,
we're recording from the first session. Do you want to stop this and then start again, because you're going to have the same continuous video, aren't you?
Yeah. Let me just stop